right, let's take a look. Open up a couple things here. Today, I'm pretty excited. We are going to we're going to fix a Game Boy Advance. All right. Let me make sure that I mute myself. Okay, I am muted. Hi, RD2 here. Today we're going to fix Game Boy Advance. Yes, that's right, a Game Boy Advance. I have several examples of the illustrious Game Boy Advance. The first model was this one. This is the what most people consider the OG, the original Game Boy Advance right here. This is not what we're doing tonight. This one's not it. Great idea. When they released the Game Boy Advance SP, they hit the nail on the head. This thing knocked it out of the park. It's the right size. It's the right form factor for everything. It's comfortable, even though it's square. It's got the rounded off corners. This really made a difference. This changed the handheld game, again, forever. Not that every Game Boy didn't do that going forward. Anyway, one of the greatest things is, not only does it accept the Game Boy Advance cartridges, like everyone knows, the Game Boy Advance still accepts the old school Game Boy cartridges, making it backwards compatible. It's a fantastic feature. So, what do we have today? Well, obviously I've got this one, but as you can see, if you look real close, this is already an AGS 101 right there. Yeah, autofocus sucks. But that's an AGS 101. AGS 101 is already a backlit device. I don't need to change that at all. This one is actually a very well taken care of. It's been in my possession for a number of years. I haven't done a whole lot to it. I came across it. It's a little beat up because it was something that I took with me a lot of places and had a lot of fun with until I got my hands on an old 101. If I just let that sit there in autofocus, you'll see that it says AGS 101. And the AGS 101 is a non-backlit version of the Game Boy Advance SP. This was the first, 50% of the release. Nintendo is notorious for revising, changing, constant revisions. The original Nintendo underwent up to 17 revisions during its original production run. However, it should be noted that the original production run was extremely long. The original production run of the NES spanned from about 1984 in light production all the way up until they revised it to be the top loader in the 90s. So, yeah, the production run was over 10 years for the original Nintendo. Game Boy Advance, of course, they always make improvements, advancements, things like that. But these 101s weren't they're not the same device as the 001 and the 101. 001 is non-backlit, 101 is backlit. So I came across this example recently, and it looks like someone's already been into it. As far as I know, Nintendo never made a dual color case, or at least not this particular set of colors. It looks like someone has taken this and put it together. Good on them. Glad they did it. Glad they extended the life of this poor thing. When I got it, it was not working at all. So today, I'm going to be fixing this up. We are going to give it some new hinges. I don't think it will need capacitors, but if it did, we have capacitor kit from Console 5. I will provide a link. Console5.com, amazing. Check them out. Not sponsored, just amazing people that do great work. I've got, let's see, is this the correct screen? I believe this is the see, I'm not sure if this is. This looks like, maybe it is. Got a screen overlay replacement. And that's the piece that, dirt gets under and it gets scratched, things like that. That's, this piece. Then I've got a replacement case. It does come with screws, but notably not hinges. Screws and little covers and things like that. This one, it's a little hard to see on camera. It's a light purple color. I did order a set of buttons to go with that case. And then, of course, last but not least, the screen. I guess I don't need that overlay. There it is. It's built onto there. But this is a backlit IPS screen made to change a 001 into a backlit version. This also works with any version of the Gameboy Advance SP that needs a new screen. So this one came to me not working at all. Started to get into it. It's obviously, it's been pieced together. It's really rough. The very first thing you want to do, get in, take a look at the battery. Before we get started, I do want to, I'm going to do an experiment. Now, I have some wonderful, wonderful friends that own a record label and produce music, and shout out to Pablo Artigas and Reliquary and Dark Mode and Apollo Nash and all the guys over at Individual Identity Music, and Tim Damage. He's got a couple things released under there. I'm going to play some music in the background. I think it'll say copyrighted but allowed. I think. Otherwise, this will go for a copyright strike and I'll have to re-record a bunch of stuff. But we'll find out. All right. Oh, good song to start on. Strings and Things. All right, so you're probably wondering where in the world I got all these parts. Where did I get these parts? Most of them came from these guys right here, Handheld Legend. They are the ones to see. Handheldlegend.com. They've got shells, they've got screens, they've got everything you need to refurb your Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and a lot of other things too. The very first thing you need to do, check the batteries. They started producing these things in the early 2000s. And, well, the batteries go bad. Some of these batteries can be 20, 30 years old. I've got some examples, I do believe. I may have moved them out of the way. But the batteries go bad. They get old. You don't need a 20, 30-year-old battery. Guess what? They make replacement batteries. Brand new replacement batteries. It's the first thing you should do, even if you buy one, you know, and the battery's still working. That doesn't really matter. Buy yourself a new battery. So I got this. I was fiddling around with it a little bit off camera before this started, and I had charged a new battery. This is a third-party battery that I purchased, probably from Handheld Legend. Charged it in a known working Game Boy Advance, which would be this one here. When I knew it was full, I took the old battery, popped this one in here, so that way you can at least give it a good test. I've got Pac-Man collection. For some reason, I just started using the Pac-Man collection for all my tests. Don't know why. Oh. Okay, the first time didn't do anything. Second time, it booted up. It said Game Boy. It says Namco. And as you can see, it's not a backlit screen. By contrast, just to to give you an idea, I mean, this one you can see it's just Pac-Man collection. Okay, I'm gonna pull the game, put it in here, and it's literally night and day. It's a whole different deal. Hey, Juice Stain, welcome in. So this is an OEM pack, or this is an OEM Game Boy Advance 101. Standard screen, the screen that came in it. Still looks fantastic. I play this one to this day. However, when I get done with this one that we're working on, it's going to look a little more like this one that I did a couple of years ago. This one I reshelled, and it's pretty appropriate since I reshelled it. I put Ninja Turtles on it. It's a custom green color. I have a thing for green. This has the third-party IPS screen in it. And I know for a fact it's not going to read properly, but it looks gorgeous. In person, this is probably the best screen you could possibly get in a Game Boy Advance. This is the one here. Happens to be the exact same screen we're going to install today. So this is kind of what we're looking for when we're finished. Is a nice, clean, refreshed, working. And again, this was a 001 that did not have a backlit screen, and it has now been modified to a backlit screen. So we're going to do the same thing with this guy here. All right. That would be the Japanese version. I believe this is Bonk's Adventure. Pretty sure. Just happens to be a cartridge that I have. Don't even know where I got it. Now, after, of course, you fixed up your Game Boy and you want to play it and it's all real nice, want to get yourself an EverDrive GBA. Now, they do have the new EverDrive GBA. It's the smaller that actually fits the proper GBA form factor like this. This one sticks out just a little bit, as you can see from the standard. I didn't mind. They didn't have them when I bought this. Uses an SD card and allows you to play Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, including real-time save. It's got the battery right there, fully replaceable. I will put a link for those as well when this video goes up. So now we can start on the shell for this. First thing is battery, of course. And I never throw these shells out, or at least not. I always keep a couple on hand. I know this is a known good battery, but the original shells, the parts, some of these screws, things like that, that's all stuff that you can save. Even some of these shoulder buttons, if they're not in bad condition, you can save them and reuse them. It's the pieces underneath that actually need to be replaced. The rubber pieces. So let's start getting into removing some of these caps. See if I can remember how to do this. Looks like someone's, again, I think someone's already been into this one. And they've been a little rough with it. So it's not like I have to be careful, but well, let's start by taking out the Y screws. If I remember correctly, these are not standard screws here. These are the Nintendo special Y screws down in there. And they require a special Nintendo Y screwdriver. Here's one I prepared earlier. Maybe. There we go. I actually don't like this nearly as much, and this is so bad. I mean, there's fuzz. I don't like this particular one as much as I like some of the others, but it gets the job done. Alright, 4 screws. If I remember, that's kind of all there is to it, is those 4 screws, and then this bottom shell just starts to come apart. Oh, also the one right here. Right there, where the cartridge slot is. Because that makes perfect sense. Okay. Then this starts coming right apart. All the way up to the shoulder buttons here. And then you see that they've got another screw at the top of this. Can you tell it's been a couple of years since I took one of these apart? It all starts coming back to you though. There you go, and there's the inside of your Game Boy Advance SP. If I can get the focus. Hey, focus, thank you, appreciate you. I'm going to turn this thing on manual focus, focus it out to the tabletop so it doesn't do that. but I'm not sure if I can do that midstream. Let me try. Oh yeah. Yeah, light purple case is like, seriously, it's the way to go, especially if you get the light purple case and then the dark purple buttons to go with it, or something that contrasts real well. I've actually got a set of green buttons that I might use. Kind of the purple and green thing. But now we got this thing open. This is your CPU here, your ARM. It's an ARM CPU. I believe this is your audio right here. And then you'll start to see the buttons. Most commonly replaced button in the entire thing is the on-off switch. This is the volume. It's a slide. Here's the on-off. And be careful, there's a little piece here. And this piece does come off. Usually it shouldn't come off until you actually remove the board, but a lot of times this will come off. It's been damaged, things like that. The two ports up here, one is the charging port, one is the link port. Link port is, there's a handful of games for it. Not a necessary thing. It's easily repaired. You were asking about that earlier. It's literally 4 solder points there, and then yeah, I can show you a little bit more when I get to the back side of the board. But this is the heart and soul of the unit right here. This is it. It's a single board. So once you get onto the inside of the machine, they change to Phillips screws. So they're just standard off-the-shelf Phillips screws. One there. Here. Now, the other thing you'll see on this board, and we're going to get it to the point we can start to get it removed here. I'll show you where the ribbon cables connect. Just making sure I get all the screws out. I know there's one here. Then you'll be able to... this one actually does... This is built differently than some of the other ones that I've seen. Some of the other ones I've seen, this is a removable piece. It doesn't seem to come off here, or someone glued this, which is a little bit more likely. I've just never seen that arrangement. And then you can start to see the underside of the board here. This is where the buttons are. These are the rubber pieces that actually depress the buttons. That's the screen dimmer button. There's the directional pad. And you'll see this is a ribbon cable under here. I get my fine flathead, and there's 2 brown clips. You want to walk those forward gently. And a lot of times you can do it going right next to it. Yep, that's perfect. That one released, that side released, and then very gently that cable will slide right out like butter. So this is now what you've got. Your case. This is your screen and your case assembly. You'll probably want to grab all these pieces out of here And as you can see, this one, oh yeah, looky there. That's freaking disgusting. That's caked on. Nasty. You know, that's how old these things are and how they've been abused. And people's hands are filthy. Let's just say it. Hands are filthy. Wash your hands, people. The little light button pops out. Every button pops out. Even if they don't want to, they all do. And then the one thing you're going to want, you are going to want this. This is the speaker for the Game Boy Advance. Now, you can buy these, but, you know, if the original's still in good working order, why would you not want to keep the original? They just need a little persuasion. They come right out. So then you're left with shell. So you got your back of your shell, your front of your shell that includes the hinge portion and the screen. I'm a hoarder. I don't throw things away. I keep these. Here's the volume slider. There's that piece. The shoulder buttons, also, they're on little small springs. They have a retainer pin. Those can be popped out if you want to reuse those. A lot of times you'll need to reuse the springs because they don't come in a lot of kits. We'll just have to see what this one comes with. I'm going to put this to the side. Not sponsored, but I'd love to be. Coke Zero, drink of choice. Okay. One thing that I don't have right this second on me is my 99% alcohol. And I definitely want some of that to clean off inside the cartridge area and then around the buttons here. And then, you know, the exposed area around the buttons. I'm going to go grab Q-tips and some 99% alcohol. BRB. Do 99% alcohol. Where are you? Wonder how far this thing's gonna reach. I know it can still hear me. 99% alcohol. 99% alcohol. And now I need Q-tips.
What's the problem, baby?
Q-tips. Well, I can still hear the music, so I know it's connected. Ha 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 ha. It's got pretty good range. I'm surprised. Okay. Got it. Okay. Oh, got choppy at one time? So yes, alcohol and Q-tips. Believe it or not, if you run into a really bad board, You could take this and you could put it in your dishwasher. That's right. Don't put it on dry, but you could put this in your dishwasher. Circuit boards are very, very, very robust. Excuse me. A lot of old school arcade boards have gone through the dishwasher, trust me. So basically I like to use 99% alcohol, or at least 91%. That's the lowest I'd recommend. That's the percentage of alcohol to water it is. But that's really all you need to clean these things. And it's not difficult. You're just cleaning contacts. Alright, so over here, we know that switch is exposed. Up here, we know the shoulder button had some fuzz around it. We know that these connectors are obviously exposed. They're the charging ports and the link connector. Let's give those a good little scrub. Flip it over. You know, get alcohol all over the place. Little things like that. This is that stuck on power switch. Now this this is the volume switch. This must be the power switch here. And you know, if this is the power switch, I'm pretty sure it is. Always compare to one that you've got that's working. So that would be the power switch. I would say that power switch is going bad. They are 4 prongs to replace. I don't have one on hand. Interestingly enough, if you look at this at the right angle, you can see there's pencil marks on it. It's like a number 2 right there. There's some initials up here. And there's some writing on the port itself. And it might be really hard to see, especially on camera, but looks like almost like J13M9586 or something. It's definitely, you know, that's all the quality control markings and things like that, so it's kind of cool to see that stuff. I would love to be replacing this this power switch. I think it's definitely on its last leg. I'm gonna have to order one, and I haven't replaced one before. That's definitely a project for the next stream. Yeah, we'll clean these contacts here. Clean all this up, clean all this up. And otherwise, we know the board powers up, we know this works. So there's our buttons. Excuse me. Alright, so this is the case for the top. This is where the screen is supposed to fit. I never take anything for granted. It doesn't fit until I see it. Always test fit before you start to assemble. Excuse me. Goodness. Alright. So in this package we have... This is the transformer board. That transformer board links onto the back of this. Alright. So I always love to do a test fit, make sure everything looks proper, fits proper. You can see it does fit properly into the case. A lot of times what you'll end up with is one that does not fit properly. This one, I can show you specifically. If you look along this edge, you can see there's a line. So this case was made for standard screens, not replacement screens. So it was too small. I had to use what amounts to it was a wide pair of wire snips and go down to the edge to get this plastic from the other side and remove that in order for this to fit. You could use a Dremel tool, things like that. No worries, Justin. But this one did fit in there after a little bit of modification. So this one looks like it'll fit, no modification. Pop it back out. And it's actually got adhesive. You're supposed to just peel this back and be able to mount it. I haven't applied any pressure to it. I'm just making sure it's lined up. It all looks lined up perfectly. Okay. Now it does have a second piece of protective plastic. I don't peel that back until the end. I am not sure what this is. I'm guessing this is adhesive. Yeah, that's some kind of adhesive tape. What I did with this other one was I just used some double-sided tape and stuck it on there. So if I look at it, okay, yep, that's the same. So what did I do with this one that's a little bit different? Let's find out. I line it up like that. It's the same board. Oh, I see what I did. Sometimes you just need a different angle on the issue. What I did was took the protective plastic off. Here, protective plastic. Another handy tool to have. Tweezers. Maybe that one doesn't come off. Huh. We'll leave it on. It's not going to hurt anything. It says LCD. Nice. It's got some batch numbers on it. This is a really, really old batch of these. I couldn't tell you when. Now I know this wire is for changing the backlight intensity. I don't think I'll be doing that modification today. Basically, these two boards fit together. And you have to arrange them as such to snap together. Which is not entirely easy. And you may use different methods to get there. Haha. I don't remember this being the most difficult part, but it seems to be one of the most difficult parts. Especially since this is now starting to stick to this. There we go. Well, I felt it clip in, but I also felt it drop out. I'm going to take the old glasses off. I can see this little fine work. See if I can get these buddies to line up and play nice. Come on, buddies. Well, I guess we can always take it out. I really wish that thing would stop sticking to that. Here's a little fix for that. Think think I've done it. All right. Looks like I may have just nicked the plastic into that one, but that trick may have worked. So maybe I can pull the plastic away now. Those appear to be hooked together as they should be. And then back into the case. All right. That looks pretty good. Now, what did I knock down? I knocked down something. Oh well, not that important at the moment. Now, I don't like to leave these loose like that, even though they kind of tuck in there, and I still don't like it. I tend to like to use a little bit of double stick tape or something to hold that down. So, I'm going to go grab my roll of double stick tape. Right, if I was double stick tape, I believe I would be right in here. That's gift wrap. I don't know where my double stick tape is. But that's okay. Always have a plan B. And plan B is just as good. In fact, plan B stands for B, which is better. Right, plan B. Excuse me. Now, in the idea that I like to make everything, reversible. We can use this stuff called blue tack. It's really it's tacky but not permanent. And it's non-conductive. So I can just stick it under there. And that's going to hold forever. No problems. And it's not coming out of there either. So I do like that as a solution. Now I've got a couple of hinges. We have the main board. So it comes with all these little pieces. All right, let's work on closing up the back here. Now the back, if I remember correctly, uses a strain relief, which ends up coiling this wire once or twice. We'll worry about what that is and figure that out in just a moment. Gotta find gotta find the other side of the top there. Don't know where it went. That's hilarious. Got the bottom. I seem to have lost a critical piece. And the other side of the top here. It's hilarious. As much fun as I bet it is to sit here and watch me flounder around looking for something that should be right in front of my face, I'm missing the back of that. I could have knocked it down. And most likely that's the case. Take a quick look around. Aha, found it. Okay.
That to my boss and he's laughing right now.
I bet.
I said he works for 3 dozen crickets a week and $5 a day.
Alright, and like I said, I believe this has to be wound one time, which isn't hard. Again, just kind of has to be done as you're putting this together, so it makes it a little more complicated. Also, where does that cable go through? Because I'm sure that cable is supposed to go through somewhere. Alright, it goes right there. Perfect. Because these cables have memory, you kind of have to work with it. Gentle persuasion's always best. And getting this back together, you know, not easy. Doing it right, worth your time. Worth your time. So you break that cable, guess what? Your GBA doesn't work anymore. Now remember when I said I thought this one was made for these screens? I could have been lying. Again, using that blue tack, I think it's going to pay off right here. Moving that over just the tiniest bit as I'm trying to mount this. But it looks like I may have to modify this as well. So what's happening is it's this piece in the back along the edge is interfering with where the screen is placed because the screen is just a little bit wide. So we're gonna have to modify it. And I said I had done it before, and I certainly have. Now, do I have the tool with me to do it? Haha, that is a different question. Always have a pair of snips. Indispensable tool. The answer is I don't have that tool, the one that I used previously. So I need to think of another way to do it, and I'm pretty confident with the snips. So it's this, making it this side here. It's this little wall. Just gonna cut, cut, cut. So what I'm doing is I'm weakening this so that I can snap it off at the base. This is where, again, you could use a Dremel, you could use a lot of tools to do this. I think I'm just going to have to cut these ones down to that base point. And just bend them until they come out. So I have some little pliers. Should help with this particular situation. Oh, little pliers. There you are. Little pliers. They're fantastic for these types of things. A little piece of plastic you need to come out. And then you just start tearing the pieces out. I'm trying not to damage anything on the other side of it, obviously. It's like I may have just grazed that outside piece. There we go. And some people say, oh, you're hacking it up. Go back with a Dremel tool and clean it up, make it nice. That's all. I'm proving a concept. This looks ugly. It looks horrible. You go back and you clean it up. And once you get it down to a manageable size, Might even be able to just go in with these snips and clean it up. You know, custom stuff. When you're making custom things, you run into these kind of issues and you learn how to solve them on the fly. Learn how to deal with them. Make them better for the next one, make them better for the next one. Etc., etc. Alright. Cut it down quite a bit. There we go, looky there. The answer is you can do it by hand. You can do the mod by hand. It's just not as easy or as clean. You never want to do anything that makes, that detracts from what you're doing, but this is... You gotta make the screen fit. So it's a balance. Almost finished with the most tedious part of the entire mod. flathead here. And again, we're just taking off just enough to make the thing fit. The amount from fit to not fit is pretty minute. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, we took off enough by far. It fits right in there. Snap together. No wiggle in there. This seems to be coming out at a proper angle. That looks great. Let's remove our tools from the area, clean down, and then we can tighten it back up. Now, I made a scratch when I did this. I scratched it. That's okay. I don't know how exactly I did that, but I scratched it pretty darn good, it looks like. Certainly wasn't intentional. Yep, I really scratched it good. I could feel it with my fingers. If you do that, well, you got to start over. You got to get a new case. It's okay. This one's going to be taken apart again to fix that power button, and I will end up putting a new backing on it just for that reason. Maybe I'll do a bunch of different mods to this. I've been wanting to do USB-C charging mod for a while. Alright, a little garbage here. Clean down. Just try to clean down. Some stuff away here. All right. So now we've got the camera, or I'm sorry, yeah, the screen in its new home. It's got the proper bend in the wire. We're gonna lock it up. We're gonna put it together. Now it does come with new screws. We did take all the old screws out and save them. Again, the amazing music, individual identity music. Amazing group of people. So you'll find that's the side to one of the hinges. It's interesting to note they do not come with hinges. Hinges are not something that this comes with. You'll need to buy them. These are hinge cap covers only. It does come with a Nintendo sticker reproduction to put and it comes with all the screws that we need. Haha, and little covers to go over them. Oh, and they've sealed in between them. Interesting. Just to keep them from not getting out. All right. All right. So screws for the front case. Now I didn't take the ones out of this, so I just left them as is. Pretty sure it uses short screws. I only pulled 3 short screws out, and there's more than 3 here. You want to go opposite corners. Make sure you don't hear any cracking, any really bad sounds. You know what you're listening for. You're listening for the bad sounds. Not sure what the hell's going on here. There we go. It wasn't in there properly. I still don't think it's in there properly. There may also be some plastic in the way. This one's doing the same basic thing. Well, let's take the one we've got in out. Let's find out what the problem is. Just a quick glance. I'm going to take a wild guess. Let's say those holes aren't drilled out right, or they're made for smaller screws. Which could be it. So I think these are made for smaller screws. And it looks like I have two different sizes of screw here, so I'm going to try the longer, skinnier ones. So I think that's what it's going to go with. So we'll put it back together for the third time. Hey. And this is all custom stuff, so you never know. You never know. So let's try with one of the longer screws. These short guys. Back over here. And maybe it's only these two bottom ones that get the long screws. I say, Oh, well, I did grab an original. Do these have wise screws for the back? Well, they did give me one. They are the Nintendo bit screws. No wonder. Let's try these with the right bit. Don't think this is the way. But I'm like 99% sure that is not the way to do it. I am pretty sure it's these smaller screws. Shorter guys. Wow, this one is just fighting me today. Alright, so I think if you get the right screws with the right driver bit, just do them opposite like you're doing a car. Same idea. Don't over tighten them. Get them in snug but not super tight. And don't drop them on the floor. That's a good rule of thumb. screw. Sometimes, because these are brand new threads, they've never been screwed into, they're really tough to get into. But you'll get it. Alright, screen ready. Now we have these dots to put over it. I'm not going to do that until everything is completely done. Now it's time for a momentary break. Such great music. Okay, now, what do we got next? So we have the back plate done. Again, I'm going to reshawl this, so I'm not going to bother buttoning everything up. We've got our main board. And at this point, you can technically, like, test it out. Now, it's got a retainer in here because it's got buttons. And it's got new rubber stuff in there, and that's great. Unfortunately, those aren't the ones I want to use. These are gray. And I want to use these nice purple ones. So, carefully take these out. So there's all my gray buttons. They were cool. But I'm looking for these purple ones. Okay, so here's the shoulder buttons. Put those over there because they're not part of this side. This one comes with the volume slider, which is pretty awesome. The cool thing is they only go one place. If they don't fit, then they're in the wrong spot, basically. Just kind of a neat concept. pretty sure this one's A. These are finicky. That one's B. Got our little start and select buttons. I don't think they're specific. I think they just kind of sit in there. Alright, so start and select are here. Alright, so I got all those there. Now, I see. Okay, so the purple start buttons there. It looks like I just released one of the shoulder buttons by accident. Oops. Good thing I'm replacing them, or I'd be upset. L. So let's put L where it belongs. It's right there. Think. Spring. Good. goes in here. It goes through there. See what I can so like okay. It actually goes okay. So that spring smartly goes under here. So the string holds there. The piece sticks up. You pin it through. And then you can get it down onto the thing that holds it. You bring this little guy back down. He comes all the way back here to get locked onto that little piece right there. You wiggle this guy in, and he should be pushing up, but he's not. He's not pushing up like he should be. So let's examine him. Let's see here. Okay, that's all it is that little tiny bit of spring action. So now we need to do the same thing on the other side. We'll release this guy. It points upward. You go whoop. Slide the right one in. Takes a place underneath there like so. slides back over the pin. Okay. And this guy comes back around. Even though he's not going to like it. He comes back around. Gets locked right there. Alright. Shoulder buttons replaced. Slider replaced. Again, with this volume one being on here, I'm so conflicted. Pretty sure somebody like glued this on there at some point. But what can he do, right? We need to find that speaker we salvaged earlier. Get this guy back in place. And again, here's where you want to make sure you're doing your test fits. Board goes component side down. Volume slider seems to work, everything lines up. On off seems to work. Everything seems to have lined up as it should have. Again, we're just test fitting until we know it works. Slide it together. It's perfect. Okay, so that's what you want to see. You want to make sure that they are slid together, that your buttons press as you want them to. That everything's kind of hunky-dory there. Then what you need to do, turn it upside down. Get your board out. Grab your cover. Slide that little ribbon cable through that cover there. It's got a little slot. There we go. The other thing is trying to put this ribbon cable through. Not the easiest thing in the world. It's truly, truly not. There we go. It has to go through at an angle a little bit. Pull it through. Get it down to the bottom. This guy fell out, so make sure he's back in there. Hey. Then you're going to need to attach. If you remember, it slides in and kind of locks there. That's all there is to it, really. Slides in. And get that guy out of the way. Slides in, and then you can just compress these brown things, even with your fingernails. And you feel the click. You'll feel the click. Whatever you do, don't let go, because you don't want your buttons to go everywhere. Alright, so I've felt both sides of this click. Put my speaker back in. Flip my board down. Now you're inside the case, and if you remember inside the case, those were Phillips. So you're looking for Phillips screws. That's not Phillips. There we go. One of the harder things to do. Oops. Get these screws into these places that you know they have to go. And where does this screw down? I'm pretty sure that was it. I think it's like 3 screws. There's one here. And all I'm looking to do is kind of get this to stop moving around enough where I can put a battery in it and test it out. So 1 screw in the board. One screw for the case. I am literally just trying to get this thing to hold together long enough to try it. I'll go for this one that's behind the battery, because I know that'll make a really good hold. Be gentle. You know, you're not trying to wrench these things out at the moment. We don't have, we don't have hinges in this thing. This is just a shell hanging on by a ribbon cable at this point. No, I'm pretty sure this battery's dead. Or no, we tried it. It was good. So we flip it open, holding it together very carefully. And we'll put the Pac-Man collection in. Game is in. Power's on. Look at that beautiful screen. Look at that. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous screen. All right. I'm satisfied that that is a working thing. So you take your game back out. I did notice something. So let's take this. I noticed something that they included. Back this one out. I didn't know what it was for until just now. As I'm looking at this board here. And I see exactly what it's for. They include this little rectangle washer nut. It'd be a square nut. That square nut goes right there for that battery door. So I'm going to place that in there. And I think the right way to do it is you place the nut, well, if you can get the nut to fit without it jumping all over. Place it in. And I'm going to take that battery door I'm going to hold that nut down. I'm going to screw that battery door in. That way those two are together when I put this together. Alright, final checks. I am going to take this apart again to do a much cleaner job cleaning up that plastic, but as you can see, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It makes a white line down here, and that's all you can really see. I'm not happy with the scratch that I made, but that's a scratch I made. That's something I did by accident. That's my fault. Alright, now I know that so a way to close this here with this, and that screw comes from underneath, and I'm pretty sure I gotta put this on and screw it from underneath. Before the board is in there. So that means the board does have to come back out. At least temporarily, just for a second. So let's pull that screw out. Remember, the board's only in there with like 3 screws, so the board's going to flip because of that ribbon cable. Now there's that screw, and that screw hole, I do believe, is the bottom of that right there. I believe. Let's find out. This on here, like that. Then when I flip this up, so yeah, it's absolutely that little screw hole right there. So grab this. Oh, it's a little tedious. Pretty sure it's that little screw hole right there. Was that it? Pretty sure that was it, but I'm also pretty sure that the piece of plastic fell off. So now I gotta back it out. And hold it there. There we go. Now put it together. Right, let's put the speaker back in. Let's put the board screws back in. Again, board screws will be super short and they will be Phillips. Why? So I'll just go back over here, grab my original screws. I know these are original. Cool. And that's why you never throw away your original screws or anything until you're completely done. And even then, I keep them after a project for the next project, etc. You never know. Hey, Alan Fulmer. Sorry, I've been really heads down into this project, trying to get this Gameboy Advance all set up. This was a 101, or I'm sorry, this was a 001 with no backlight. And putting in a backlit screen, nice light purple shell. We're just about ready to button it up here. Pretty sure. Get this to go back together. Got that purple slide. Alright, so that looks like a nearly completed thing. Now we've just got the hinges. And again, I told you that they don't come with hinges. You've got to buy these things separately. And here they are. Now, I don't remember exactly which one's left and right, but I know that the black one is left or right and the gray one is left or right. I know that they're different. Yeah, trying to get this this Game Boy Advance refurbed. Here's the old case. Someone had already been into it, pieced it together. It was two different colors and scratched and filthy. So took this old one apart, putting a new shell on it, getting it all put back together. So because I don't know which one's left and right, I'm just going to stick one in here and see what happens. I think they're keyed so they only go in one way. So I think this is the wrong one. There we go, I'm right. It's keyed so it only goes in one way. Which means this one should find its way into here somehow. Go. Pop them in all the way, make sure they're in. Then these little caps actually go in and go over those. Again, I think these only go in one way, so. If I remember, you have to have it open when you're trying to put these in. Not sure. There we go. Push it in. Cap goes in. I use the backside to push the caps in so they don't get messed with. And there's a way that they lock in. They've kind of got a tab. And they will lock in place. If A, you put them in right. And then you figure out how to keep them there. Pretty sure that's not it, because I just fell out. Let's see if I can remember. There's a trick to these. I just can't remember it at the moment. I wonder if I can remember what the trick is. My goodness. Couldn't have been anything too crazy. Now for the moment, we will close it. Go back to the back. These will be the Nintendo Y screws, and they will be the long ones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 long ones, and 1 short. Right there where the cartridge slot is. And you'll want to go opposites with these. Hey, Boomhauer. Good to see you, man. Welcome in. Going pretty good. I think I've done pretty good with this so far. I'm kind of putting it back together at this point. It's been 2 hours. Cool. You don't tighten these down too bad. You just kind of get them going. When they start to get tight, you just give it just a little bit more. You don't want to cinch them down too hard. You can always come back and make them a little tighter as you're going around, especially. So the worst part is when I install it, I scratch the heck out of it here. So I wouldn't sell this one to anyone, but it's perfectly good, perfectly playable. The scratch is superficial. It's on the other side of this, but I can always put another cover on it. Not a big deal. So technically that's buttoned back up minus the covers for these sides, which there is a trick for. Yeah, the scratch and dent discount, that's it. Let's see, what is the trick for these things? Is it push them in and open it? I remember doing them while they're open and then closing it or something. It's these covers that go over the hinges, which I just dropped on the floor. Awesome. Yeah, I don't remember how to get those to stay. I'm gonna have to look it up. That just popped right out. I don't know. I don't know. Brand new hinges. Opens. Stays open. Doesn't flop around. Closes. Stays closed. If we want to rebrand it with the old Nintendo logo, we can stick that on there, and then it looks all official and pretty. So here's what we started with. I guess it would go like that. Here's what we started with. This thing. And here's what we have now. Personally, I kind of like them debranded. I've got the stickers. I've got all the stuff to put on here. I like them debranded like this. Let's put a battery in it. Let's see how it works. Let's see how it plays. That's the most important thing. Got our brand new battery in there. Put our battery cover back on. Again, to make it look really nice, you go through all these screws along the edge here. All will have these little stickers to go over them. Which are pretty cool. It makes it look so much nicer. And then we traded out the gray buttons that the case came with for these dark purple ones. I could put something like debranded. And got the L and R. Those seem to be working okay. Let's give it a game. As always, I always test with Pac-Man. Fired right up. Namco, mass media. Pac-Man, Pac-Man, Pac-Man. Press start. Well, let's see if it has sound. That's another thing. We're gonna go A for. Yep, I got sound. Wow, look at that screen. I don't know if you can hear that at all. It's kind of quiet. It's quiet to the point where I might actually I might get it a new speaker. It's pretty quiet. But it works. Again, Again, speakers are, everything's available for these. Can't believe the screen worked. First time, first try out. All the buttons seem to work. Let's try a game where we actually need both buttons. Gameboy Advance. I was just looking for maybe Super Mario Advance here. Super Mario Advance. There we go. Single player. Play original Mario Brothers. And battery's dying, which, that's fine. Okay, that's running with the B button. Jump. Pow. Wow. And it just works. It just works. It looks great. It works. I'm going to finish up putting these stickers on it. And that is a working thing. So in 2 hours, that is how you can tear down a Game Boy Advance, put it back together with a new case, a new screen. Sometimes you don't even need a new screen. Sometimes you just need a new front bezel. Guess what? They're available. Here they are. I've got a stack of Nintendo DSs. I've got lots of other ones I can go through. But this was a fun little exercise. It's been a couple of years since I've done one of these. This is the last one I did before that. It's my custom Ninja Turtles. These are all original 80s stickers that are inside. And this is a custom one that I made for myself. Didn't do the green buttons. I left them gray. But you can see this is, the little stickers that go over to make it nice. Just a fun little thing, and you can bring these things back to life. Look for the ones that say AGS 101 on them. Or I'm sorry, 001. Those are the ones without the backlight. They're worth less, and if they're broken, they're worth $20 or less. Buy those, bring them back to life. The worst thing you'll need is a capacitor kit. The great thing is there's only about 4 capacitors on the board, and they sell little cap kits for them. Here they are. Now, surface mount capacitors, they're pretty hard to... Worthless, not worthless, yes. We're taking things that are relatively worthless, like this one that was broken, and bringing it back to life, so it's not worthless. Oh, goodness, I can't believe how well this came out. I really, really like it. It turned out well. Like I said, I'm probably going to redo a couple things just because of that scratch. And I'll find something cool to put behind on that back panel. IPS mod, Master 801, as well as a new case. And this one actually came to me completely broken. Luckily, it was only a power issue, so... Oh, for Dream State Boomhauer. I have not yet. That was something I was doing tonight after my stream here, and I will pass you some information over on Discord about that. yeah, other than that scratch there, this turned out great. I really like these. In fact, somebody's making some sparkle buttons, and I think I might check those out as well. That'll be kind of fun. But yeah, gotta love being able to modify these things. And it still plays the old classic Game Boy games. Oh, that's dirty. I don't know if that'll even boot. That'll probably not boot because it's... There it goes. See that Nintendo's filled in? That actually is the copyright. Hudson Soft, so that, yeah, this is Bonk's Adventure, Japanese version. How do I do with snoring? I actually don't, I don't really, but I'm also one of those people that falls asleep and just, boom, I am out, and not much can mess with me. So yeah, no big deal. No big deal. Yeah, let's put the rest of these little stickers on here. Even though we're going to take the back of this off. Well, you know what? Because I'm going to take the back of this off, I'll end up with another set of these. So yeah, let's put them on. What the heck? What the heck? That's if... a big if. Oh yeah, 15 years ago, these things were unobtainium. You couldn't buy them. No one was making them. And since the price came down significantly, it's just amazing what you can do now. Well, I believe these are all supposed to have a little adhesive backing to peel off, so they stick over. Or maybe I put my own adhesive on them last time. They kind of just stick in there. Stick them in here. The fact that they make these screens, that they make all the pieces and parts and the rubber pieces to go with all these. It's just amazing. I'm so thankful that they do make all this stuff. So yeah, these just push in here, and the big ones are for the corners. Again, I use a super fine flathead for this kind of work. But you don't have to go out and buy, Snap-on branded tools to go work on the Game Boy Advances. I've had these things forever. I had friends who told me this guy will keep, ended up waking him up. Nah, generally snoring does not bother me. So yeah, look, that actually makes a whole huge amount of difference when you do that. It really does. They turn out so nice. Yeah, you want to go into debt with Snap-on. I think this set of tools that I bought, I can tell you exactly how much it cost because I saved the receipts for everything. So I've got this beautiful little set that I believe I'm missing one out of. I am. I'm missing one. And this is the old receipt for it. I think it was over 100, if I remember correctly. Oh no, it wasn't. It was $69.95 plus tax. So $70 for a tool set. Just some little screwdrivers. But they work. It's one of my nicest sets of precision screwdrivers. But there we go. There's the fruits of our labor for tonight. One working Game Boy Advance with a backlit screen. I didn't do the... This wire, I believe, hooks directly to this ribbon cable. You just solder it on there and then solder it onto the pad underneath the screen brightness, and then it will let you change the brightness of this to 3 levels, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't done that one yet. It's not a huge deal. I don't see it as a big deal. Maybe I'll go back and do it with this one. Who knows? Aftermarket customer service with Snap-on. That is the truth. That is absolutely the truth. Now I wish I had something other than this Nintendo sticker to put on there. You know, R&D2 sticker or something like that. But again, I like it. I like it unbranded. I really do. I never branded. I never branded this one, so I never put the back sticker on there either. Oh well, that was a fun departure from the stuff that I normally do and things that I have been doing. What a great little exercise. Get back into modding. One of the other coolest things, I just happen to have one handy. This is a Game Boy reader. This is from Ben Ven. And this one, goodness, this was called the V2C. Yeah, the V2C. What it allows you to do is hook up Game Boy Advance directly to USB-C. Now, the cool thing is it lets you pull the save games off these. So let's say you got save games on your old Game Boy. You want to back them up. These things are getting old. Those old Pokemon cartridges, things like that. You've got buddies that, you know, have their actual save games from when they were kids still on these cartridges. Batteries need to be replaced. Hook it up to here. Pull those save games. Back them up. Make it back up the ROM if you want. Whatever. Pull it off. Change the battery out in your game. Go back. You can dump your save game back onto your cartridge. Yeah, this is a great little one. I think it cost $45 or something. It's really cost effective. BENNVENN, I think. Benven makes these, and this one happens to be in a little 3D printed case that they were selling at the time for an extra $5 or something. But yeah, one of the nicest little Game Boy Advance dumping cartridges that I've ever used. Super simple. It just comes in as a drive. Gives you the ROM file, gives you the save file. Nothing complicated. Really straightforward. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to start putting all my tools and stuff away. And let's see if we've got somebody online we can raid out to. Should be a couple people doing some runs. Let's see. Tool assisted speed run? No, we're not doing that. Looks like Somna is playing some games tonight. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of people to rate out to. Well, thank you for everybody for stopping by. We'll end up rating Somna music. He is playing a game. He's playing StarCraft 2 with Pablo Artigas, keeping it into the family. Appreciate everybody stopping by tonight, and you'll see a lot more from me soon.